We have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme.
Gypsy Blanchard is caught in a web of secrets and lies. Even her age is in dispute.
Yes, you can say that again. Everybody on the internet is saying the exact same thing. That she's been lying the entire time. But mind you, this is a clip of 5 years old. Let's watch some old footage and see if she has been lying the entire time or if it is just recent. What do you think?
My medical insurance has 23.
Okay, alright, so how old actually are you? Let's get that.
19.
This clip right here shows you is that she has been programmed to the point that she even has to defend her age, even when her mother is no longer alive. Obviously, she was put under severe mind control by her mother to tell lies and to make her story believable to get financial gain. But has she proceeded this into the future? Because, to my opinion, it hasn't stopped.
Okay.
Me and my mother are Hurricane Katrina survivors.
Okay.
And
now saying the exact phrase that she has been rehearsing for her entire life to gain sympathy from people because they are Hurricane Katrina survivors. Oi, help me. And now she is trying the trick with the officer, but he won't be buying it.
my birth certificate was washed away in Katrina.
Okay.
And unfortunately, they messed up. A lot of times they messed up the paperwork.
Of course, poor sweet little Gypsy did not come up with that phrase, but her mother did. But it was all a fraud. It was a financial scheme. She did not deserve to go the way she did.
She's behind bars and charged with murdering her mother, 48-year-old Gypsy Blanchard, known to the community as a loving caregiver for a sickly gypsy.
How did you go from this to this?
Well, I'm sorry you are a rude and very obnoxious interviewer, but first, you don't listen when he says that you don't have to do it, we can run away. And number two is you don't tell the police what is going on, and especially not your father. And the last one is, of course, not stand up and show everybody that your mother is lying and do it in front of an audience. Then when you have done all of that, you can just blame one person for everything and say that you are not gone crazy. But nobody understands you.
I only see it as a fall from grace.
Yes, it was a fall, but where is the grace? Because Nicholas John, he is in prison serving time for what you have done to him, and you have done it all through manipulation and deceit. Watch my previous video where I explain exactly how she did it.
I thought back then that I was a good person.
She thought she was a good person back then, but nowadays she doesn't think like that anymore. She thinks she's kind of a bad girl.
Daddy. And now I just see it as it was a fraud.
Now she thinks it was a fraud. I thought it was Munchausen by proxy. So which one is it? Is it a fraud? Or is it something else? It is like every time you click on something, you hear a different story.
And I made a horrible mistake.
Oh, so she's taking full blame for what has happened, and it was all because of her. And it was just a mistake. It should not have happened. Guess who doesn't see it that way and who doesn't have a voice? He is in prison. He's lucky if he can have a 5-minute call with his parents. 2 lives have been completely ruined. Please remember that his mind does not operate the same way that ours does. He has an IQ of 70. So as you can see on this graphic, you can see that 70 is only 2% of the population that has an IQ score that low. That means that his mind functions close to that one of a child. And as you can see that the IQ of 100 is about average for the population. Maybe now you can see how easy it was for her to manipulate him into doing exactly what he did, which he would not do otherwise because he does not have anyone in his environment pushing him to do things. he does not want to do by himself.
A horrible mistake because it turns out that little pink house on Hope and Volunteer Way was actually the nerve center from which the so-called doting mother perpetrated an elaborate scam.
Exactly right, it was an elaborate scam, and you can see that even the first reporting about her committing the crime, they said that they have uncovered a great financial scheme. And as you can see, Gypsy Rose in the picture showing more of her acting skills, because of course it is all fake. She knows that this is not legitimate and that they should not receive the house because she really can walk and she's not ill. But you see, she's fake crying over here, and she continuously doing so in this current time,
Preying on the sympathies of countless Good Samaritans.
We have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme.
exactly as I said. That is what the police said in the very first time of coming in contact with this case. Nothing else was very much known about it, because it all came later when the defense needed to defend Gypsy, right? They said it was Munchausen by proxy, but the police knew from the beginning it was financial fraud.
Along with this tragic event,
Celebrities, charities, even cartoon characters, all conned.
Everyone was conned and scammed and made to believe something which is not real, all to get financial benefits, maybe some attention.
Disappointed that I had been duped.
What medical conditions did you believe you suffered from?
Leukemia, asthma, both vision and hearing impaired.
Leukemia is very bad, but do you hear that in every single interview? Well, I have not heard that in every single interview, because every time it is something else that she wants to mention first. Talk about the asthma. You know how many people have asthma? It's not really something to give sympathy. The reason why I'm showing you this image is because prior to killing her mother, she tried to poison her, and her other great idea was to set the whole place on fire. Does this have to do with anything of her conditions?
Muscular dystrophy and seizures.
She might as well have seizures, because you know how many times she told Nick in her text messages that, oh, I think I'm bipolar. Or whenever Nicholas Godejohn would not do exactly as the mastermind Gypsy said, he said that she became completely a different person, and he needed to calm her down, saying, please, I want Kitty back. Please, will you have your outbursts when we are together?
Did you always know you could walk if you wanted to?
What do you think? I mean, come on, this is such a stupid question. Of course she knew she could walk. I mean, you are your own body, right? You're not just a kind of alien that's sitting somewhere in the planet X, and then you are at night or during the daytime coming back to your body. Of course she knew she could walk. The scheme was to not let anyone else know that she could walk.
Yes.
She told you you had to stay in a wheelchair when you could walk. How did she convince you to do that?
I was so young, so me looking up to her so much and just believing that.
Did she honestly just say that she needed to look after her? Please leave a comment if I'm mishearing something.
She knows best. I didn't question it.
Did you believe you were sick?
There are certain illnesses that I knew I didn't have. I knew that I didn't need the feeding tube. I knew that I could eat, and I knew that I could walk, but I did believe my mother when she said that I had leukemia.
Please listen to the video I made about Dr. Phil interviewing Gypsy Rose Blanchard. They go into a lot of these questions, very interesting. How she again can manage to lie her way through the entire interview.
Tell me about Dee Dee. What kind of mom was she?
This mom took her daughter to Disneyland and did all kinds of fun things with her. But of course, she was not the best mom, because you do not learn your child how to steal, cheat, manipulate. So that was a big failure, if you ask me.
Very protective.
Do you think she protected you?
No, not in certain ways, yes, in other ways, no.
Dear viewer, are you aware of the situation where Gypsy Rose Blanchard tried to run away with Dan, who was preying on minors, and he wanted to do Gypsy all for himself, and then of course mother finds out And she was so mad that she chained her up to the bed and said that you cannot ever see this guy again. But then she made it so as if it was a complete torture and abuse from her part, completely leaving out why she did it, why she chained her up to the bed. Was it a good decision? You can fill in the blank. Please leave a comment.
I think that she was very sick in her mind.
Just like daughter, she's sick in her mind too, but she's more sick than her mother because she actually decided to do the most heinous thing possible.
For a long time, I believed like we were best friends. And when I was younger,
Did you hear that? Please pay attention, because she said that for a very long time she believed that they were best friends. That means that she does not hold a grudge against her mother until one point in her life. At what point was that? Of course, it is known for a very long time that when a child starts to reach adulthood, that they will rebel against the parents' strict rules and they want to discover the world by themselves. And that sweet little girl that you see maybe on the picture, you know, that 8, 10, 12-year-old sweet girl, is now starting to show a face that the parent have never seen before. And that is all a natural process, because the child needs to develop his own sense of independence and freedom from the parents' rules, because at the time when they're not adult, they have to do it all by themselves. So was she abusive, or was it just a normal process that kids go through?
she was my best friend.
She was your only friend.
Yes, other than my stuffed animals.
Well, that is another lie, because she had a friend. It was her neighbor friend. She told even that she met Nicholas Godejohn. She told her that. So it was a very good friend. Please don't degrade your neighbor to the one of a stuffed animal, Gypsy.
And so I thought that she was a great mother. No complaints. We got along so perfect. You know, I saw her as an angel that could do no wrong.
But as Gypsy got older and became curious about life outside the little pink house,
Yeah, just as I said, it is a normal, natural process of your child starting to rebel against the parents' rules. Everyone goes through this. It is not special just because it is Gypsy.
she says Mom Dee Dee began exerting more control.
What happens when she got upset with you?
It would go into an argument that would last a couple days.
Of course, she will not tell you that she grabbed at that point exactly a BB gun, and she thought it was a real gun, and then she shot her.
Or it could be something where she wouldn't feed me for 2 days or so.
And then in the interrogation we see that she has no signs of being severely underweight, of malnourishment, or any signs of physical abuse. The detectives could not locate any of that.
Was she ever physical with you?
It started to be physical in 2011. She would hit me with a coat hanger sometimes.
Did you ever fight back?
No.
Just for convenience sake, forgetting all about the BB gun incident.
Because I was too afraid to.
Gypsy says she did try and run away once, but Dee Dee found her a few hours later.
Exactly right, she tried to run away into the arms of a freaking pedophile idiot, and her mother was very mad. What do you think what she would do? She probably thought, I'm glad I have a chance to see my daughter alive again.
And there were consequences.
She physically chained you to the bed.
Physically chained me to the bed and put bells on the doors.
Did you ever consider, in a public place, if you stood up out of your wheelchair and walked, Dee Dee's fraud would be completely exposed?
I honestly didn't think about that.
It never crossed your mind?
No.
No, but it did cross her mind to maybe poison her mother or set the whole place on fire and then run away with Nicholas Godejohn. Run away like Bonnie and Clyde into the far distance, somewhere to Las Vegas.
So instead of planning an elaborate escape, you planned a murder.
Yes.
Did you hear that? I'm sorry, I cannot take the way she talks. Listen to it again.
So instead of planning an elaborate escape, you planned a murder.
Yes.
It is that sweet little innocent voice, you know? Yes, yes. You know, that's how a child talks when she's got caught stealing candy, you know? I'm sorry, Mama. I won't do it again. So let's listen to what else she has to say about Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
The evidence against her keeps mounting.
How about this evidence? Isn't that enough for people to believe that how crazy of an individual she is? And why the hell would you want to watch her on a Lifetime show? I can only think of one thing, trying to figure out what's up with her mind.
In my 10 years of practice, this case by far had the most discovery that I've ever had.
Now please let me introduce you to one of her attorneys, and they are the ones who came up with the idea of blaming it on Munchausen by proxy. Or is it a financial by proxy?
Close to 100 CDs worth of papers, photos, and digital information.
And now I sit here and wonder, where are her medical files? Because I cannot find them. Can someone please give me a link or anything? Because clearly we can see that the investigators got the medical records. There is a whole thread on Reddit for people trying to find those records. But there's just nothing to see.
But it's a field trip alongside Gypsy's dad and stepmom, he says, proves to be the most helpful, while the outside of Gypsy's house is pretty and pink.
And if you ever get the strange idea, you know what, let me just drive by Gypsy's house and see what's going on. Well, let me tell you, you're not allowed to do that, because it is not for the people to come there and be like a tourist. Basically, just leave the case alone. She's innocent. She's free now. Don't worry about nothing. We got it covered. And the one who did it is in jail, so you don't have to come and watch.
The inside, a chaos of clutter.
Frankly, it was a disaster.
Dee Dee is not here to defend herself, but look, her house is full of clutter. That means that she likes to collect things. She wants stuff. That's what hoarders do. So now let's see, what is more important to Dee Dee? Is it to have the attention of other people, of look, my child is so sick, you gotta have some sympathy with me? Or is it just a financial gain because she likes stuff? If she was in it for the sympathy and for, you know, all that stuff, that means that she would like to have people come over her house and become friends with her and sympathize with her. But as Gypsy clearly said in one of those times when she appeared on the screen or whatever, she said, well, my mother was kind of sheltered, she didn't have much friends or anything, so it is not for the sympathy. And that's why people with Munchausen by proxy do this. They want that, exactly that. But she is not after that. She's after the financial stuff, because if you look in her house, it is clutter all over the place, and you see hoarding often creates extremely cramped living conditions with only narrow paths, and yeah, you cannot walk basically. Countertops, sinks, stoves, desks, stairways, and all other surfaces are usually piled with stuff. So doesn't this sound familiar to you? And now ask yourself, what's the problem with Dee Dee and the Gypsy situation? Was she after financial stuff, or was she after sympathy? So now let us look. What do people want with Munchausen by proxy? What is their gain, right? Alright, I will tell you. This is from a website called Better Health, and they wrote a piece about it. Well, you can see it basically immediately. The summary: Munchausen by proxy is a rare type of mental disorder when a patient fakes illness to gain attention and sympathy. But her house is not built for that. Her house is to keep people away from her, you know? So how can she gain sympathy if she isn't around people? That's what Gypsy said herself in one of her books or one of her interviews. I don't really remember. I think it was the book. That's what she said. They lived a very secluded life. So more and more things start to pile up. A lawyer came up with this Munchausen by proxy situation to get her out of prison. That's what his job is.
There was stuff everywhere.
I could tell Dee Dee did a lot of just hoarding and stuff piled up.
So now we see that Daddy is in the house, and he was there when this became a complete mess from how they first entered into the house, which was a very neat and good looking environment. So he has been there, and then he said, I did not know that she could walk. But how can you believe that when it is impossible to move with a wheelchair through the house? It's crazy. It is known that Rod said that he did not know that Gypsy could walk. He only knew it until he saw her on TV. That's what he said, but how believable is that? If we again look at the state of the house and that he has been there, he just said that he knew that she was a hoarder and the house was filled with stuff. And of course, obviously, when he was there, Gypsy was there also. And he did not know that she could walk, but how could she stay in this wheelchair and not move through the house with all of this stuff piled up everywhere? It is just so unbelievable, the entire situation. It looks like Rod is even lying. And of course he is her father. I mean, who would not lie for his daughter? But this is insane.
I mean, like chest high to the back of the room.
One of the bedrooms had so many items piled into it that you couldn't even walk into it.
But amongst the photos on the wall and the den of disorder, some clues.
The thing that shocked me the most was
The thing that shocks me the most is that she says that Didi was so strict and she had to be in the wheelchair at all times. But how can you use the wheelchair through this narrow path and then make the turn into your room? I mean, come on, is that really the way things went? Because we also know that Didi was sick and she was sometimes even bedridden, you know, in the last days. And what do you think? Seriously, do you think that she is telling the truth or what? I am losing my mind over this woman. This is a premeditated thing that she did. So tell me, what are you most shocked about? I am most shocked about how could she use a disabled man with the mentality of a child to commit crime.
Closet inside Gypsy's house.
I was like, holy y'all need to get it over here right now and look at this. I mean, my mouth dropped. From the top to the bottom, full of so many medications.
This isn't your ordinary medicine cabinet. It's Didi's personal pharmacy, a large linen closet fully stocked.
Yes, that is right. I did a video where I examined the entire medicine cabinet, each and every bottle. I zoomed in into a very close range. But as you can see that there is a lot of that stuff that you can just buy from a regular pharmacy, where you buy regular household stuff. And of course, most of it is also a lot of double packaging. But yes, this is a problem, and it is a very big problem, because Gypsy did not need to go through this, if you ask me. She developed her personality because of her mother, but don't you know how many criminals are now in jail because of their bad parents? And of course, when you're an adult, you need to take responsibility and change.
She had even written on several of the bottles of Gypsy's medication as if she was writing it for a child. For the anti-seizure medication, it would say, shaky baby. The organization of the medications was shocking to me, because in every other area of Dee Dee's life, it appeared that she had absolutely no organization or cleanliness.
Now that is a really good point. He said that her medicine cabinet was so organized, completely opposite of what her house looked like. So if you think about it, it could be that she wanted to have some control over her life, and then she controlled Gypsy to the ultimate, right? With medication, with feeding tube, that she needed to get a grip on reality, like she didn't have that in her childhood. This is just a thought, take it with a grain of salt.
Except when it came to these medications. It let me know from the very beginning that something here was seriously wrong.
You're in a better place now than you were
Wrong,
before.
because it turns out not only can Gypsy walk, she says she's never been sick. Not cancer, not epilepsy, not anything.
Another classic lie of Gypsy, just whatever feeds the narrative and makes the story look good. Now she says that I didn't have anything, absolutely nothing. And then in another interview she said, well, I did have something, it was the microdeletion. It is, I don't know, what is in her mind? Why is she switching up her story from depending on the interviewer. Could of course also be the people-pleasing mentality of, well, let me first see what they want to hear, and then I will say that, and I will even exaggerate it. The good girl syndrome, but then again, good girl gone bad.
The only thing that I have wrong with me is I have a little bit of a lazy eye.
Yeah, I guess you did have a lazy eye. Now we can see that someone needed to pay, and you could not see that you needed to commit the crime and go to jail for life, but no, you used the disabled man to do so. So your eye is very lazy indeed, and not seeing the reality as it is.
Not all the time, but
not all the time, just whenever it suits me, whenever it is convenient. I will see clearly and I will speak the truth, but then when I am a bit troubled, or whenever it is in my best interest, I will tell a lie. Nobody will know.
I have better vision in this eye than I do that eye. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
So nothing else, and then the micro deletion just appeared out of nowhere, like she has no idea whatsoever at all. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We have reached the end of this part. Please leave a like and a comment. It is the best way to support my channel.